All right, all you devils. How's it going? Happy Friday. Well, what a roller coaster we're on here. So, of course, we're going to look on, we'll take a look at Bitcoin, of course. I've got 12, I think, 4 alts, and I think we'll finish up with the NQ. Now, before we dig into it here, and we're going to look at both, up and down, bear and bull. Before we get into it, just for those members will know about this, but those of you that are YouTube subs, we got a new little promo going on with our sponsor. This is up BloFin. This is for their futures trading here. It's nice, right? They do this very regularly. I encourage you to take a look at it, right? They're just trying to give you an incentive to consider the exchange. We're very, very happy with them. I think you'll find it as good as any exchange anywhere. This is a nice little promo, right? So, what's it up to? Right? If you deposit $1,000 or do more than $10,000 in trading revenue, which is not very much, you get a 150 bonus, right? This is progressive little promotion here based on what you're depositing, but it's not a bad way to, dabble, check out the exchange, make sure you're comfortable with it, pick up an extra 150. Not a bad thought. And then perhaps you'll like it enough to stick around, right? That's right. I'm doing 90% of my crypto trading of late. I'm, again, very happy with the exchange. I think you will be too. Okay, so let me get that out of here. Of course, if that link is below, let's get over here. That link is below at the very top of the description of all of our videos, right? So easy to get to. Okay, so I brought this up here, which before we even get into any indicators, always a good idea just to strip it bare, look at it. My question to you to consider, if you didn't know what this was, right? If you didn't know it was Bitcoin, and of course, Bitcoin is certainly a unique asset, but if you brought up this chart, what would your first thought be? I mean, I'm not stretching a lot here. Oh, we'll keep it simple. Would you think something other than that? Not so sure I would, right? I think the assumption you're making here is very valid, right? We've completed an impulse. Now, note here, I'm at a log scale. So, now I'm not trying to scare anybody. But if you look at this, okay, from 15,000 to 108 approximately, do we need to look at it in log scale? Well, as I say all the time, right? And it's annoying that you have to do it, right? Because it distorts things. But 4 times the range, you at least have to look at it in log scale. But I just want to remind you, don't get locked into log only, right? You got to look at both. So again, my point being, if you brought this up, I mean, is any issue with the look, right? As Elliott would say, do we have the right look? This is one of those where I get comments all the time. Does Elliott Wave even work anymore? Does it even work anymore? Such a moronic statement. You tell me, right? Does the market move in 5s and 3s? Greatest performing asset of all time. Pretty good looking 5. So, you look at it there and you say, okay, well, hang on a second. Before I go to log scale, well, if I was going to just do standard ops here and assume that, okay, I've completed an impulse, where would I be looking for it, right? Again, out of log scale, I'd be looking for the retracement to go at least 50%. Down a degree, 3, 4. Oh, well, fuck. That would be the same degree. But same idea. Into a 50 golden zone. We're at 87, 50 would be 62. Not crazy. So before you get completely caught up into the latest, news, crypto reserve, the insanity coming from the tariffs on, tariffs off, tariffs. Maybe this week, maybe next week, maybe we'll change it, maybe we won't. Not much the market loves that. All right, I'm not going to go there, but here we are, right? So I just caution you, if it's not that, okay, so with that assumption, now just keep it somewhere, right? So you're not completely blindsided should we start to head much lower. Now, if I put it in log scale, okay, does it, I mean, are you dramatically altered by what you see here? Well, certainly the retrace changes, right? Because, of course, the distortion. So just hang on a second. So what was, again, would you do this, right? We're going to go to 41. Well, 50 is 50, right? You want 50 is 50. right? Just like, you know, 3 is longer, right? If it's not longer in log, you better check it in arithmetic, right? I mean, that's the 50. Forget the log when we're talking about a 50% retracement from low to high. Just pointing this out here, right? Let's, you know, again, I'm as bullish as anyone long term, but let's not turn a blind eye to what's right in front of our faces because we're so, you know, tied to a bullish outcome here. Now, that said, right, again, let's not get too doom and gloom. What's the assumption we're making here, right, as bulls? Well, that couldn't possibly be the 5. Not for Bitcoin, right? And I would propose we'd probably put the 4 here. If we dig into our count, you know, some sort of WXY into it, ending with a triangle here. And so we're going to go up here. So the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that completes here, that would, log or not, right? It's going to give us the 5. It's just that's the, you know, the complexity of that correction. Well, what's the assumption we're making? We're making the very bold assumption that because it's Bitcoin, I'm going to go, well, let's just use the pivot. That this is we are going to have an extension in the 5th, because I don't think there's much dispute about the 3-4 into the new highs, right? So I don't think we're going to be recounting this as 1-2, 1-2 or anything like that. I mean, we are 3-4. Now, only 2 possible outcomes here, you know, with your Elliott hat on. Either the top is in, or we're going to make we're going to make a deeper correction. Let me say that. So our assumption is as bulls here, which I maintain, but I just let's be realistic about the other side of it, right? Let's not have bull goggles on the whole time. Right? It's got to be this. 1, 2. Let's get these out of here. And take that down to something smaller. Here's something, that'll be fine. That's the assumption we're making. Well, it couldn't possibly be the top. All right, we got a crypto-friendly administration, true. Now, my opinion, right, not to backtrack here, but Bitcoin was going to go up either way. But not to digress, so 1, 2, right? So we're going to have an extension in the 5th. Okay, well, let's think about, right, you know, as you see the, I know. Right? You see the bull porn in your feed, right? Bitcoin's going to 200, it's going to 1 million, it's going, you know, as Michael Saylor is going to 11 million, something like that. I mean, just obscene, right? I mean, it's true bull porn, right? Not that I'm opposed to it, but perspective. Let's keep a little bit of perspective. Now, additionally, if I take this and I put on this, where is this? Oh, shit, I thought I had it on there. Hang on a second. What is this thing? Adaptive. This one in log scale. All right. So I can get a regression channel in God, I could have sworn I had that on there. Bear with me a second here. Let's use the long term. Right. Okay. So pretty good. All right. If we look at a regression channel, you know, from the lows, right, 2 standard deviations on either side. Well, we are right in that channel. So where I would get a little bit more uncomfortable with the idea here that we are definitely putting an extension is we start to, you know, take out some of this lower support. Again, in or out of log, right? It's a pretty dramatic difference. Now, note what we just did out of log. You're going to see that a lot in this video. Well, you see that. I'm 6 years. There's never been a video where you don't see that, I don't know, 15, 20 times. I feel sometimes silly showing it over and over again, like, oh, duh, get some new material. Do I need new material, right? Is that the point, to give you something new or to give you something that's consistent? Now, how you react to it, that's a different story. And you might say, well, but that's a second. Well, but okay, but that's the premise here is that that's 1, 2. And so this is the low that I'm pulling from. In the same context that I would propose to you, invalidation happens right here. Oh, I know why I did that, because I have it on another screen. I'm on the crypto.com, the aggregator, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would normally, you know, I'd put it on BloFin as our sponsor, but I can't get full history there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a big assumption we're making. Now, okay, right? If there was ever an asset you were going to make that assumption on, it would be a Bitcoin. So as we sit here, having just gone from the proposed wave 4 low via the WXY into the triangle, right? 1, 2, right? Into that premise. Well, that's got to get your attention. Bitcoin loves the golden zone. So I just, a few things to think about. we start to break some of this, I'm going to be a little more concerned. One thing to note here, right, you'll see this. I've got a couple of examples of this. When we haven't tapped into this would be bullish order flow, the down before the up. If we haven't tapped into that, right, very often it'll come right to the edge of it. You see it very often, right, and it won't dig into the juice that's down here, right, the liquidity that's down here. It'll stay right on the edge. If it gets into it, right, then you'd be looking for a 50%, right, the kind of as a mitigation level for any potential market makers or whales here that need to mitigate. They would do it at the 50%, right? So that's part of the theory behind that. You do see that in the market, right? It's pretty common. So as we see it here, 1, 2, right, on the premise, right, that's an accurate pivot to be pulling from, should get your attention. So what does that suggest for the 3, right? Again, out of log scale, 161. If we're going to do, right, 161 from the length of the 1, right, on the assumption I've got the correct pivot identified. So we shall see, but that certainly is a point of interest, right? And we're getting a little bounce there. Okay, so let me get off of that one here, and let's go over. This is the hard count here. Again, I went to Bitstamp normally per our sponsorship agreement, right? I would show it to you on BloFin, but I can't get full history because they only hit TradingView, I think, the end of last year. Okay, so now we apply the count, right? And we've been over this count many times. It looks like it's changed a little bit up here. But 1, 2, okay, here's where this gets a little crazy, right? Again, we've gone over this a number of times. W, X, A, B, C, D, E, and that's the pivot that I'm pulling from, right? So that's what gives me the golden zone here if I'm pulling low to high. But see, now I'm back in log scale. So I think you do want to look at it in log scale here when we start to do the analysis. Now you could say, okay, from 50 to 100, do I need to be in log scale? Oh, let's go. Where'd you go? All right, if I'm pulling from this last golden zone here, if I'm pulling from this low here, oh yes, that I have the right one. So if I'm pulling from this to the top, right, now you could say, okay, well, get right on it. You know, if we dial in a little bit here now on Bitstamp, looks like there's a slight front run on it. Now, could we be finished here? Again, on the assumption that we've gone 1 and this is 2 now, right? That we're going to get an extension in the 5th. Well, let's dig in there. Let's try a 3-hour here. This has gotten a little funky. So if we're working from the 5, this has been a couple of variations on this, just working with the new price action over here to accommodate this. Let's see a better solution. It looks like you got to work through a wacky leading diag here. Yes, I did measure it. 3 is longer than 1, just barely, but it is. So I can go A into a B here into a C. That would give me a W. And the reason I'm leaning that direction is because it certainly looks like I've got a triangle on my hands. So rather than think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is, again, that's certainly a possibility if we're going to go into a deeper correction, A, B, C, W. It's odd here, but then of course we've had a presidential pump and dump, so that might explain this volatility here and the uncertainty and what's going on with the Fed and the tariffs and every other thing that's that's creating confusion and uncertainty and hesitation in virtually all risk assets. Okay, W. Oh, what are we doing here? Well, it looks like you can complete it. It looks like it's done. A, B, C, D, E. Now, there's a little bit of Elliott shuffling going on here to accommodate this. A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I can live with that. It's a little bit of an Elliott shuffle. This 3, right? We're not calling that anything other than a 3. You're not squeezing an impulse in that. That is a 3. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 into an X. Well, that implies lower prices, right? Now, again, market's under no obligation to do anything ever. But if you're looking for the ideal entry point, we'd be looking for an ABC. Now maybe we get lower. Right, again, log scale, out of log scale, going to make a factor here. But you see, here's the front run on the golden zone here when I'm down to an hourly. If I'm going to get into it, right, well, what would you anticipate the market doing here? Get right on it. Well, that's what I would anticipate. Boom, boom. Right now, I don't have this, right? So again, this is just projecting if we get an A wave here into a B into a C, we'd be right at the golden zone, right? We know Bitcoin loves the golden, right? So this could be just a little tease here. They're going to use the liquidity because we all know we don't even have to wonder about it whether there's liquidity down here. Yes, all the stops that took the longs here they're sitting down here. There will also be, right? You could consider this inducement, right? There will also be stops right there, right? Because all the people that caught this, right, their stops are sitting there. So we know where the liquidity is. We know where the market makers, algos, right, where they're going to want to go. But same breath, right? There's liquidity up here, right? So we're in this range now, kind of bumping around, right? Trying to figure out, okay, we're going to have a crypto reserve. No. It's just going to be Bitcoin. Oh, wow. Are they going to be buying a lot of Bitcoin? No, we're not going to be buying Bitcoin. We're just going to be using the Bitcoin we already have. Well, I'm sure that's disappointed a lot of people, but it's at least a start. It's not going to affect the price, but you could argue that it adds credibility to the idea. Well, we'll see, but you can make the argument that that's adding credibility to the entire Bitcoin ecosystem, right? Whether crypto in general or not, seems to be that there was enough blowback on the idea of adding Ripple and Solana and ETH and whatever else he had in there from the people that, gave him hundreds of millions to get him in office. They're going to be a little disappointed, my guess. But that said, if Bitcoin rallies eventually, right, that's Bitcoin will pull everybody with it. I'm sure that was the conversation they had. Well, I shouldn't say I'm sure, but my speculation would be that don't worry, when Bitcoin goes up, yours will go up, and I won't get caught into that madness. Okay, so I don't know how we consider this anything other than a triangle. There was a thought that maybe we'd get a leading diag in out here, but this price action's it's a triangle, period. So where does that fit? Well, it's either a 4 or a B or a WX. Right? Hard to argue with this coming down. Again, in its broad strokes, right? You're just looking at this. Right? What's implied? That's implied. This, crazy town, right? But we got a crazy situation on our hands. So that reserve news, I think that you wouldn't be surprising, right? With the disappointment. Oh, they're not buying Bitcoin? Okay. Well, that might, again, the reserve news, not likely to be a much of a catalyst, right? And that's what the market needs here, is a catalyst. No catalyst, path of least resistance is lower. This is just uncertainty. Okay, I think I covered that. Hang on a second. Okay, I think that's enough on Bitcoin. This is a hurry up and wait. I don't think you want to be doing anything here. I mean, given that price action, you're right in the middle of the triangle, right? You got an edge there? No, you don't. You don't. Now, you might say, well, I don't care if I have an edge, right? I just want to be long Bitcoin. Or maybe I want to be short Bitcoin because I think the top is in, right? And we're going to make a 50% retracement. I don't know. But my suggestion to you was whether you're a bull or a bear in the middle of that, you have no edge. So don't fool yourself. You don't. Okay, that said, I'm going to go through a series of alts here, right? All majors. You tell me if you notice anything that's common amongst them. Let's start with SUI, right? One of the favorites. Now, note here, I'm out of log scale. Because if I look at this down here, we'll call it 50 cents to $5. Do I need to look at it in log scale? Well, of course, right? Of course I do. But that said, I also don't want to ignore the arithmetic, right? Just low to high. In arithmetic, I don't distort anything. If I go from the proposed low here to the high, what have I just done here? I can't make that up. All right. Looks like a triangle, right? So it looks similar to, okay, this, you can't, well, I shouldn't say it that way. That's a 3 all day. So the only way to make that work, let me get rid of that. The only way to get that work is A, B, and then it looks like I've got a long 3, 4, 5 into a C for a W. Again, it's a triangle, right? We can't call it something else. It is a triangle. So what does that leave? It leaves, or just as we were looking at with Bitcoin, A, B, C. Well, where does it bounce? Well, right now, not a great launch here. It actually has that makings of, oh shit, are we going into another triangle? Because we don't have an impulse here, that's for sure. I go here. Oh. Yeah. Fugly. Can't say I like it, right? I love the reaction here, right? There's the little reaction. We're going to go 1, 2. No, it's not an impulse. So you're a little bit hurry up and wait here. But of course, what I want you to see as we go through a series of all the majors, where did they bounce? Low to high. Right, here's the T's. Right? Again, it's just like Bitcoin. Here's the T's. Right? Oh, it's going to front run off the golden zone. Right. What was down here? Liquidity. What did they do? Grab it and go. I'm not making the news. I'm just showing it to you, right? I mean, that's what happens. Oh, my guess is there's probably measured moves in here as well here, but I won't get too far on that. That's not enough, right? That's not good enough to say, okay, low is in. It's a candidate, right? Certainly it's technically a candidate. Let's go back to log scale. Let me reset that and let's go back. Let's go to a 4-hour here. What are we thinking, right? Now in log scale, I got a ways to go here. So this could be A, B. We've got, the 2 could be down here. It's very different in and out of log, right? So don't fool yourself, right? Be sure that you check both, right? That's my point. Now, you'll note here, I'm not going to the 1 high. I'm going to because the algo doesn't care about your Elliott count. He doesn't care about an expanded B. He's just going to dominant to dominant. Boom. Okay, let's keep going. I don't think that's good enough to go anywhere. Oh, how about link? 2, 3, 4, 1. A, B, C, B, 1, 2. Looks like, right? This looks like it may have another leg down, but look where we get the reaction. It's just unbelievable. Look where we get the reaction. Now, this is tricky here because it looks like you've got to go you got to do this in some sort of a weird diag. Again, the pump and dump that we got, from the White House is distorted everything. Let me get rid of that. 3, 4, 5. It's a little funky because we had manipulation, right? You had. So can we get it done here? It doesn't quite have enough. It doesn't really work in there. A, B, C, because you need 3 to finish that as a diag. Now you may be stuck with it, right? If this starts to go, but the possibility here is that we've got another leg to go down in the 4. Maybe that the 4 is here, and you're gonna do it this way: A, B, C, and do a 4 in here to a double top, right? Because you need to do this as a diag. One more leg down. Maybe we come down and test the golden. It's the same kind of problem here. Okay, I'm seeing a technical pivot, which is good news, right? Again, is it here? That's good news that I've got a technical pivot, right? Well, for all the majors, right? If that surprises you, you haven't been paying attention. Okay, right? So, good enough? Would you? Why would you? Only one reason. Oh shit, man! I don't want to miss it. FOMO is real, right? Everybody experiences it. But step back for a second and say, boy, is that the setup that I really want? I mean, what if nothing else, if you just took the low to the high, do we want to buy it up here in the premium? No, we want to buy it under the 50, right? Let's take them out of log. Now look at it out of log, right? We're well past the golden zone. Makes you think, 2, or could this be coming down lower, right? Is all this still yet to come? Do I need to be in log scale? 9 to 30, right? If you're 4 times the range, or even 3 times, you pretty much got to look at it. Now, it looks worse, right? If you're a bull, like, oh, shit. Log scale. Okay, let's keep going. How about ALGO? Algorand, right? Another one. This is one of my faves. My view is that this is uncountable. I would start it right here because here's the, oh shit, I keep doing that. Here's the impulse. Here's the impulse. I do not want to connect these two. I don't want, okay, again, you can feel free to disagree. I'm not doing that. I'm not thinking that. right? This is a completed impulse. I'm not trying to connect that. If anything, this would be the 2, right? Which is why I come back here and go, okay, this is all the pre-election. What are we doing? This is the, what are we doing? What are we doing? Who's winning? Pro-crypto? You pro-crypto. Retrace, right? So I would, the idea, right? This is a 1. I would start the 2 here. Now that's me, right? A hardcore purist might say, "Oh no, you can't do that." Well, then don't do that. That's just what I would propose to you, right? That's the impulse. This is the correction. A little front run on the golden zone. Now, if I were to pull it back here to the absolute low, well, we're stalling at the 50, and that might suggest, oh, does this need to come down again? Needs the wrong word. Right? Is there potential? Because what do we have there? Again, pump and dump, right? So you have a manipulated low. Are we gonna rally off of that, or does this need one more push down? I mean, you could see a worst case here that this was 1. Oh shit. Well, you could, right? It didn't clear it, so that could be a 1, 2, right? There's the pivot that would matter. 1 very steep 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of this to suggest it needs to come down lower. Again, out of log scale, pretty ugly. Out of log scale, what are we doing? We just round trip. Right? It's a whole nother ball game, right? Again, you got to look here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was that? 20. It's 22. We peaked. Okay, so you come over here. I just don't get landlocked into like, oh shit, I only look in log scale, right? You'll miss things. Now you can see my point here is like, okay, are we really not going to start here? And if this is the impulse, which clearly it is, right? That's pretty deep. We've got on almost to, well, where's platinum, right? We've gone into the 786, 764, right? So very reasonable as a 2, right? Not uncommon, 1, 2 to come that low. Now, we got to get out of here with legs, so there's no reason to FOMO here, because if that's a 1, 2, 3, $1.15, we're in the pennies down here. Don't FOMO in, but okay, let's pay attention, right? So again, I'll put that back in log scale. That's going to look a little bit better. How about CRV? Notice any commonality between these? I know it seems silly to even have to mention it, right? It is the dominant algo in the market, period, right? I defy anyone to prove me wrong. I say this all the time. I've probably shown it 50,000 times. Now, what's interesting here, again, I'm going to show you this in a few, I've got a few other examples. Right? When they don't come into this order flow here, right? This is untapped order flow, right? Literally, they're coming right to the edge of it, and there's a reaction. Notice it's also the golden zone. Now, keep in mind, that's log. Out of log, we're coming all the way back to the base. So this makes the point. I think you certainly wouldn't do that. Well, I'd like to think you wouldn't, right? You're not going to do this. 3, 4. You wouldn't do that, right? That would be. I mean, if you're, no, that would not be the right look. All right. So do we have to be in log scale? Yeah, we have to be in log scale because of the range, right? So as we take this back, interesting how that happens. Could we be done here? WXABC, right? It's a little funky. ABC, you're kind of stuck with that. You got to clear 5 here. You got to do a little shuffle here to go ABC into the X. Then you got to clear 5 here. Not much else you can do with that. Oh, I suppose you could do it here. ABC. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, the president's pump and dump. So we have distorted price action here. But interesting that it stays technical, right? And we don't tap into any of the liquidity down here. Okay. Did we get Solana? I don't think we did. Let's look at Solana. Solana is catching Al on the other side. So this is a tricky count. Let's go out to the daily. Okay. I wish I could, every Friday I like to come with you and say, oh man, this is perfect right now. Well, the technical pivots are very appealing, but the price action that's come off of it, it's not ripe yet. So let's bring this up here. Let me get that down. Oh shit, come here. Okay. from low to high, right? Dominant to dominant, right? If we're going to come down here, well, let's take it out of log scale. Just so that we see it out of log scale. Okay, are you still thinking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Right, we can expand the B here because there's a way to get it done here. Okay, right. So let's look here. We're not quite to the golden zone. Could we be done? Well, again, we've got the very unusual price action here as a result of the, Trump's bullshit. So A, let's put it back into log scale here, and let's get in there. It's a bit of a judgment call in here, but oh, come here, some sort of a triangle here to get you out of here. Oh, you might have to do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, this finishes here. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you got to do it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not ideal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extension in the 1, coming out of the same triangle type pattern that we saw in Bitcoin, right? Into a Y. So we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a 1. A, leading diag. It's ugly. Yes, I checked. 3, A, expand the B, sweep the lows. What are they doing here? What are they doing? Right? They're grabbing all the liquidity that's down here, right? It's the hallmark of a pivot. That's what you want to see. You want to see the liquidity get grabbed here. Boy, did they fuck. I mean, did they, pardon me. Somebody bought it there. I promise you, right? It's never a good idea to buy the all-time highs. Just the market will teach you the hard way, or you could listen to me. Or anyone else who's been around the markets long enough would tell you the same thing. That's not just me. That's anyone who's survived the markets will tell you the same thing. You don't ever need to do it, so just stop doing it, right? It's a moronic thing to do, right? You're only going to get bent over. So just a word to the wise. Okay, now can we come out of here? 1, 2, 3. Looks like I got a triangle. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, let me get that liquidity thing off of there. Looks like I got to go 4, 4, 5 because I come off of it. What do? This is the pump, right? The presidential tweet. Boom. Where do we go? Where's the target? How many times do you have to see it? I can't imagine anyone who's watched 5 of my videos. That's not the first thing you do. It's where you got to find him. Where's Al? I personalize it, right? Where's the code? If you want to take the personality out of it, there it is. It's going to stay short, right? Until that's broken. Here's the target. 1, 2. Really? Is that what we're thinking? Sure looks to me like it's a 3. It looks exactly like Bitcoin. Are we doing another fucking triangle? So we got to go W, we're going to do it X, and then we got to go lower. Well, that would get you to the target because it sure looks like we're doing A. Can we get it? No, it's much like the other one. That's A, B, C, D, E. That's getting pretty skinny, right? It better start coming down here because the C could be up here. Right, this could expand. We could have this higher since the size is the A. B, C, D, E. It's always very tricky to forecast a triangle until you literally are on your way into the E. So could be. Hard to call it. Do you want to buy anything here? Right? If you're a Solana bull, is that the price action that you want to buy into? I wouldn't. What? Why? What? I mean, again, put your Elliott hat on. What were you assuming, right? That we're going to get a leading diag? Well, that's as much to assume as the triangle. Let's see it before we, fill it in our mind's eye. Because I could just as easily say it's going to be a triangle as it's going to be a leading diag. We don't have enough. So when in doubt, don't force anything. If you're in, I don't know that you need to modify here, as I'm assuming you're not trading with leverage. But is that a great setup to buy? Much as I'd like to say, yeah, that's not what's there. I got Al in play. And sell side, right? If you think of it that way, the sell side's broken right here on an hourly, right? There's no resistance here, right? This is all broken. So even if we retrace, it's just going to be again. It's just going to be Al again, right? So if Oh, where are you out? All right, if I just come back this way, well, we've already hit the 50. Right, targets are down here. If it gets a little higher, right, it's not going anywhere until it breaks that golden. Targets are lower. So the potential here is that you'd, oh fuck, I guess you'd be turning this into a WXY, or excuse me, A, B, C, W, triangle X, Y would bring you lower. So it's just not the time to be a buyer just yet. Trust me, I'd love to come on here and tell you the time to buy. Time to buy this one, time to buy that one. How about the NQ? Well, we've had quite a reversal today. I think I've adjusted this count a couple of times. I know we looked at this in the live stream on Wednesday. I think now, having looked at all the scenarios here, and again, note here, I'm out of log scale. So, oh, that's a 4 hour. So if I pull this back, it's the same assumption as with Bitcoin. Now, we've looked at some scenarios here where this would be a 4. We'd have a leading diag. At this point, I think you got it. Oh, fuck, I've got something coloring that. Oh, what is it? I think it's this one. That's the ADX, which, let's take the bar color off, right? It's just for trend strength, right? So very strong downtrend, right? Which, no, not a surprise to anyone. Okay, can we get this done here? Is this a potential, well, what's your assumption, right? The 5 of the 5 of the 5 of the 5, or a 1, 2? Well, until proven otherwise, I think yeah, that's a dangerous assumption to make, given the macro background, right, of everything that's going on, without getting into any of it, right? It's just a lot of uncertainty. So are we going to assume 1, 2? Well, I think we can until proven otherwise, right? There's a very fat order block down here. If we start to break through that, I think that could be a problem. But so right now, I think it's not unreasonable to think 1, we're working on 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get that something appropriate. It looks to me like the correction is it's maybe, right? We had a pretty good reaction here. We're trying to do a 3 here, right? Now it's a little tricky. A, B, looks like you got to go A, B, C, A, triangle B, C into the X. And then you got a sharp here, right? You got an ABC that's pretty sharp. Let's go to a 60. Right? If indeed that's correctly labeled as an X, we need an ABC to finish it. Well, there's an A, there's a skinny B. Again, it looks like we're trying to do this as an ending diag. 1, 2. Now, 3 could be here, 4 could be here, and this could be done. But it kind of loses it's possible. A, B, C, it's maybe. Before, just a suggestion, right? Before anything else, right? Let's sweep that high. Let's get a change of character. Yes, we've got some micro breaks up in here, but that would be it would be that one, right? Let's break that one and confirm, okay, I got a good low. Oh shit, what do I want? All right, we want this to break, right? And then come back on a retrace. That's what we're after, right? This would be the entry, right? This would be the setup you wait for. Don't buy the first, well, I shouldn't say that. My suggestion would be to not take the first bait, because that's what retail will do, right? So wait for this. Oh shit, there's going to be plenty of resistance up here, right? So if indeed we have a good low, okay, well, it's not going anywhere until it gets through that golden, period. It's got to get through that, right? Now, is it going to get through on the first push? Now, the 50 is a common place to see a retracement, right? To get a reaction that leads to the, right? You can just map this out, right? You can see how this would go. A, B, or excuse me, 1, 2. Got to go up in the 3. The 3 is what has the juice to break it. You got to get on the other side of the POC. So this is going to need to be a big rip-roaring bull, right? The suggestion would be, oh, well, if this is the 2, what's that going to be? Not the 3. It's going to be the one of the 3. So if indeed, right, the AI revolution and everything else and all the bull media, right, is going to be good. I mean, earnings, we're getting through earnings. They haven't been bad. They have definitely not been bad. Now, are they going to stay good going forward? Again, with all of the Washington crazy, maybe. But the trend is still up, and even though we're getting a pretty serious correction here, now we haven't gone golden yet. I don't think we want to immediately transfer to the bearish camp, right? In terms of the long-term count, it's threatening. It's threatening it. The other possibility, right, is this is all just a big A, and we're going to do B, and we're going to go much lower as a WXY, and the Y would be much lower. Now, before I get off of here, I just want to make this point here. This is something to look for. Hang on, let me find it. Here it is. I forgot. It was on the it's on this ETF. Okay, so this is the ProShares Ultra Pro. They use 3x leverage here. So for those of you that are looking at the S&P here and think it's a buy the dip opportunity, okay, something to consider. So we'd be pulling from this low up to the high. ABC is in, and now we're getting the reaction here. Let's take the hull off of that. So what I wanted you to see is this tendency in the market. This is something to look for. Certainly with regards to trending, but in terms of entry locations, right, outside of, okay, right, the golden zone 50, of course we know that. What you'll note here is that I'm using so if we look here, let's zoom in here on this side, right, and we'll just do each one of these. So here's the downswing. So if I do it, let's see, if I do it this way. So we go up and we come down, right? So that creates bullish order flow. If, right, assuming we don't do that, if we go up. So when we come back down to it, right, that's the order block here, or the bullish order flow that is tapped into here. And we want to look for that 50. So we get it here. Now it comes back again, right? You can look at how that is consistently support. And then the same thing happens up here. We get this major down here. So if I do it this way, we get this down. The market goes up. We come back in, we get on the edge of it here, probably 25% of it. Ultimately, we get to 50% of that bullish order flow, right? When I say bullish, that assumes we don't do this, right? So on the assumption that we've gone out of it here, so we know, right, the longs here could be defense, could be unfilled trades in the order book, right? This would be size, right? So this would be a reflection of the S&P. So maybe buyers are filling here. Right, and this continues. So as we go up here, now we get the same thing here. Here's the downflow. Obviously, you're going to see this, right? So here's the downswing before we go up. We come back, right? We get past the 50, but we get into the juice here, the liquidity here. Then it goes again up. Here's the down. Here's the down before we go up, right? I'll use the pivot. Now we come down like we just did, 50%. I bought this today. You trade it with options, right? Because it's 3x the leverage, right? I don't want that much risk. But so buying the turn here off of the idea, right? So if this is 1, 2, 3, so this would be on the premise that we have a low. It almost doesn't matter if you're finishing it here. So you could think of it this way: 1, 2. Oh, what do we do here? Oh fuck, 3, 4, 5. It almost doesn't matter. A, B, C. We've done okay from low to high, we've come to 50, and we're getting a reaction, but it's the key being that the bullish order flow here, you're getting the reaction off of the 50. So do I know this is going to fly? Of course not, right? It's just calculated risk. I didn't put a lot of size on here, but it's a candidate, right, to come out of here. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for some sort of a 5 to come off the low, because I've got a candidate for a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd get a diag coming down here. It's a little skinny, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So the extension's in the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the pivot. Oh, let's see. Am I in log? I am in log. So let's see if I turn my friend on there. There you go. It's nice, right? Because I love to use regression channels, but when you're in log scale, I can't do it, right? So this is a nice solution. So you can get a log-based regression channel. Okay. I'd sure want to see it get out of the channel. So what am I looking for? I wish why I didn't go too big on this. I want to see that get swept, right? To confirm the low. If I do that, I'll probably add to it, because this has got, it's got leverage, right? So this could potentially go. But I wanted you to see that it's something to look for, right? When you're looking, it just in your mind's eye, right? You see me do it all the time. Okay, what's untapped, right? Where's order flow that's untapped, that's available? Well, there it is right there, right? And again, just giving you that history. Boom, 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 boom. Something to look for. Okay, guys. With that, I'll just remind you of that Well, you can always join us for free in our Discord, right? If you want to come in and kick the tires of what that membership's like. You don't have to be a paying member. You can get in there and go crazy, right? If you want the belt system, or if you want to get access to the sensei, some of the things they're doing, well, we've got progressive levels of membership, right? So that's all, entirely up to you and your budget and how serious you are about learning these TA skills, right? That I demonstrate every week. That's our methodology, and we're sticking with it. Okay, guys, with that, have a good weekend. We'll catch you next week.